Last week, in the workshop with Esperanza for Children, one of the boys asked me, "Father Joseph, why are you called Father?" It was a very good question. Priests, questioned by some smaller Christian groups, are often caught up in a state of hesitation how to answer this question. Because they are telling us, why do you call yourself Father when only God is allowed to be called to be Father? There is only one Father only in heaven. So, it's a good question and a really tricky one. My answer on the spot was that just like fathers and mothers have the task of building up the community of their families, the church is a similar family, and the priests have the role to build the community of the church and to nurture the church community. And they have to support people, offer counseling if needed, prayer support, good advice, love. They have to love their people, just like fathers and mothers, a parent loves her or his child. And when I shared this with Philip, our warden, as you know, he quite agreed with this assessment. And his approach is always very biblical, so I was quite relieved. But can we stop here, or can we go further than this answer? Today we are called to do so. I think calling our priests and bishops as Father is good and important for another reason. For example, when I speak about Father Hugh, my colleague, as Father Hugh or as Father Bishop, it is like a signpost. We don't think too much about it, but it always refers to the Heavenly Father, the one and only Father whom we have in heaven. It is, of course, a kind of moral pressure on priests, as we really have to make the effort to be Heavenly Father-like. But in a world which seems sadly to aspire to forget love, divine and human, among us, it is so important to remember that we have a loving Father in heaven whom we have to imitate. So it is seemingly trivial calling someone Father, but having the Father's name among us is very important. But the most precise answer, who our Father is, what it means to be Heavenly Father-like, is given in today's Gospel. Do not resist the wicked. Love your enemies. The wicked is the one who insults and humiliates you, the one who demands your necessities, or the one who imposes a duty on you by manipulation and force. We have these wounding situations as individuals and as communities. Jesus, the image of our Heavenly Father, teaches us something crucial. When we are encountering wickedness, It is not about giving up in the face of evil, but of not entering the spiral of violence. We must not let the spontaneous desire for revenge and retaliation pollute our hearts. Only the gentle can disarm brutality. We allow Jesus to reach into our hearts, to that sometimes well-hidden place from which at any moment violence can spring up. Think of the last event when you really blew up and you boiled with anger in a situation. This volcano is there in each of us. And with his command, Jesus teaches us that this hidden volcano is always ready to erupt if we say yes to this violent, fallen angel in us. Love your enemies. Perhaps this is the one which speaks to us most. All of us who are baptized are given this wonderful call: love your enemies. And this is so hard that this is our daily martyrdom. That's why I like when the color is red in the liturgy and when we remember a martyr saint. Even if we don't know anything about their lives, they made a tremendous effort to love God. And loving our enemies is really our daily martyrdom. It is just as difficult like carrying our daily pains, physical pains. Love your enemies. This is not only a question of not attacking the wicked, but of seeing them differently. Our enemies, the enemy, they are children of the same Father. It would cut into our heart if we said our enemy is from the same mother. But this is the reality. They are children of the same Father with us. Again, it is a call just as difficult as martyrdom. To see them that they are children of the same Father is the most active form of love. Martyrdom, this is a very high standard of Jesus. But let us spend time with this call. Jesus invites us to pray for our enemies. That is to say, to place ourselves with them under the gaze of God. Quite simply, Jesus asks us, asks you to greet your enemy, to greet them, to welcome them as people, to dare to relate them, to think about them, not to eliminate or ignore them, which is easily our defense. And why? Without explanation, full stop. So that you may be the children of your Father, so that you may be perfect as your Father is perfect. This attitude explains a lot. It unmasks our world. Anyone who is not acting in this spirit can never have the whole truth on his side in a debate or in a conflict. What would Jesus say about your personal conflicts? Or what is the Christian response to war? Now when everyone wants to support the stronger team and wants to win. Is Jesus inviting warring nations to fight their enemies to the end, or something else? Or what can be lost in our personal conflicts if we fight them to the bitter end? Let us find the perfect answer to it, as there is a perfect answer, as our Heavenly Father is perfect. And just as a reference before our prayers, when we are singing a beautiful hymn, they are full of profound thoughts. This perfection of the Father, which we can imitate in our conflicts, is so beautifully put in George Herbert's hymn in verse 3. I will praise thee in my heart, though not in heaven, I can raise thee. In my heart, though not in heaven, but here on earth, I can love my enemies.